Welcome back to Kettlebells and Cocktails. I'm your host, John, back with both the co-hosts tonight, Nikki and
Wow.
Ben. We'll start Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
I'm good. I'm coming to you from like the frozen tundra, basically, that is my home office.
You look cold. Yeah, you have like a parka on. I'm surprised you're not wearing
Yeah.
gloves.
I am wearing a heated blanket on my legs.
Oh
Can't
my
see
God.
that.
Nikki, what
It's
state are you in?
I'm in Rhode Island, so it's New England. So now is the time. Like we always have like a mild winter until the turn of the year, and then it'll be like a few months of like actual deep cold and snow. But like I'm the worst. I've said this before. We have this like old like radiator heater in here that is like from my husband's apartment when I first met him 150 years ago. And I don't know why I don't just go to Target and buy a $60 space heater that will heat this room in 2 seconds. Like I'm the next time you see me on this podcast, I will have one.
You could even probably buy one on the internet. I don't know. I think the internet has those.
It would just show up at my house.
Probably.
Yeah, if
This
it's over your house,
sorcery.
you have to carry it upstairs. So there's a lot of commitment.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
You can make it happen, Nikki. I have faith in you. Then where are you
Yeah.
tonight? You have like the perfect black backdrop.
Black hole.
So,
Yeah.
actually, any guesses what my backdrop is?
I have no guesses whatsoever.
Wait, I have a guess. Are you in a closet? To
No, John. I feel like you should know. This is
What is this? Oh, his bear. Look at that. Look at
Ah,
that.
wait, you have a bearskin rug on the wall?
yes. I hunted this very evil male black bear in Canada. Actually, this was
Okay.
I actually, and I eat the meat and everything. A lot of people don't think bear is edible, as per Rich Froning's Instagram post. But they're actually quite delicious. And the males are really evil, like the big males. And this one, right before I actually got him, I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure it's a big male, but it's hard to tell. And then he like viciously attacked and killed another bear that was trying to come in and eat the same. So I was like, yeah, this is one. This is the one you got to take care of.
Yeah.
Basically, the big male bears a lot of times just like try to kill other cubs that aren't their offspring and like other males, and it's just not good. So anyway, yeah, this is my bear rug.
Damn. Damn nature. You scary.
Nature's
All
savage.
right.
A lot of people think nature is like peaceful and nice. It's not. It's super savage.
You know
But
what
I
the
love that you hang it on the wall and it, like, makes the perfect just, like, dark backdrop.
Yes, actually, Katie, my girlfriend, who's currently in the basement, probably watching Netflix, but she was like, "That's the perfect backdrop." So we repositioned the computer, and it's kind of it works well. It's very soft. It's sound dampening too.
See, the problem with bears is they look cute. They have those little
I
round
know.
ears.
They
I
You
do.
just
know.
wanna scratch them and play with them, and so people see that, and when they hear people are hunting them, they get, like, all out of sorts about it, and I get it because 'cause they're cute animals until you realize they are vicious as hell, and they will
They're
absolutely kill you given the chance.
they're very cute. They're very sociable. Like there was probably 2 dozen that I was like, I'm not shooting any of these because they're just like they're peaceful, they're quiet. A couple of them like tried to climb the tree with me because they're like, "What are you?" Like the little cubs. You just scare them away. But like the big solo males, they just kill other bears for fun because they're territorial. So it's
Yeah.
it, the the proper management of all wildlife, but especially like apex predators, because we don't really have any other apex predators. Like there's way less apex predators anymore. So
Yeah, people have big feelings about hunting on the internet. There are
yeah,
just there's no safe way to go about it, but I also don't think people realize how many folks out there are doing it for like you said, in very responsible, like, wildlife management type ways, which is what our forest rangers and our government agencies are out there, like, issuing very specific numbers of licenses for, and there's a whole science behind ensuring that we keep the population safe and growing
yeah,
with
absolutely.
responsible hunting, and then people who eat the meat, like, I don't know. My husband grew up that way, but it also can be quite difficult because the animals are beautiful and pure and cute oftentimes, and
Yeah.
it's hard to sort of, like, weigh in your heart, but certainly not any reason to go after anyone on the internet unless you're hunting for sport. I'll go after you
Mhm.
for that.
Yeah, and that's like, and that's the thing is like, there's a lot of people, they think a lot of people are just after it for the big set of horns, and there are some people who do that. But while I'm hunting elk, for instance, in September, I lived out in the woods the whole time, and it was like, I don't know, I've eaten that elk 4 times this week. I'll eat it 4 times, 5 times next week. It's like I know where that thing came from, and I know that like, it ended the best possible way any elk could have possibly ended their lives. Didn't get hit by a
Mhm.
car and abandoned. It didn't starve. It didn't die of infection. Like there's so many other things. It's like an ethical shot from a hunter is the best way for these animals to go. Like this one could have killed 10 more bear cubs and then gotten an infection and died in a cold, harsh winter in Canada. Like that's how they normally go. So yeah, it's something I used to be against. But then when I actually got into it out here and tried it due to a recommendation from my buddy, I was like, how can I use my fitness to do something in nature that also provides lots of food? I was like, well, I'll try archery hunting. And I've been very much obsessed with that, as John knows, since I started a couple of years ago. So yeah, I definitely have turned a 180 on my stand.
It's
It's
interesting.
interesting. Froning did a post on this a month or so ago. He killed a bear and caught all kind of hell for it. And you have a pretty sizable social media presence between YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that. Do you ever catch hell? People DM you, message, whatever?
No, but that's because I don't ever really post in a way that like tries to trigger people like he does. And
I get
I would like, hey, like I'm in there, cheering them on in the comments, but I don't post a picture of a dead bear and say, sorry, vegans. Like that's
right.
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
doing it because like this is a hobby of mine that I thoroughly enjoy and I very firmly like believe in and I promote it and I'm all about ethical hunting because I think it's the absolute best way to connect with nature and provide good food and all these other million reasons. However, I know that like WODprep, my company, is not a hunting company, so I don't need to go force it down people's throats. I'll
Yeah.
post like on stories and stuff like that, but I'm not like, hey, here's me and a dead animal. Like, sorry, vegan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Right.
if if I was launching a hunt specific programming like he's apparently doing, great idea. So we can wrap up all of his hunting.
It
Um,
is an expensive hobby, isn't it?
it is. It's so. But if I was gonna do that, then I would probably post more about it. So
Love
This
it.
is
I sense a new course coming on WODprep called Hunt Prep in no time flat. So Ben can
I'm
start
pretty
writing
sure
off
I
on some.
own the domain name actually. So
Do you? I'm
Ooh, he's ready.
not
I do a lot.
surprised.
I had pickle prep.
Oh, perfect, perfect. Now's the
There's
time.
there's so much I could do with that, but tonight we're not gonna talk about that.
All right.
We do have a topic for tonight. We're gonna talk about the community of CrossFit, but before we jump into that, I wanna hear about everybody's holidays. Nikki, how was the baby's
Oh
holiday this
gosh,
year?
it was totally magical. 2 is really special. He's like he doesn't 100% know what's going on. Like I think next year he'll be even more like into it, but he like loves Santa. The magic is definitely like alive and well. He was we went from, like, kind of, opening half of his stocking and, like, being all set with it to then, like, finally being like, "Oh, presents? Like, I wanna, like, tear this paper up," and it was just really fun, and we had a lot of family in town we've never hosted before. Really special, and it went so perfectly, wonderfully, and then like, my husband was off, Matt was off between Christmas and New Year's, and my company operates on a soft close, so I had, like, the first little reprieve of
Right.
Q4. When you work in D2C marketing, Q4 is, like, your absolute Super Bowl, so I had, like, my first little break where I had a little bit of work, but, like, no meetings, no calls or whatever, and then Matt had a couple guy friends come in for, New Year's Eve weekend, which was really special and fun for them, like, old friends, like, really special friends. And so that was great, and I had a little weekend with Hunter too. I teased him that his boyfriends were coming all weekend for him to play with
Love it.
him,
And
and, like, play video games in the basement.
I saw the pictures of Hunter with his new guitar. That was pretty exciting for
Oh
me as
my
a guitarist.
goodness. He is so I ended up getting him the Loog that you
Yeah, yeah.
recommended, and another friend who's a professional musician recommended, and he loves it. And it came with all sorts of, like, instruction cards, and I think that there are, like, YouTube videos you can watch.
Yeah.
He's a little young for that, but he will put on that guitar. First of all, he slept with it the other night. Did I send you that picture?
I know, I love it though.
Oh
It's
my
great.
god. And he will put on that guitar and he will sing "Let It Go" from Frozen at the top of his lungs. It's
Love it.
wonderful. Great. How about
Love
you
it. Well,
guys? How did it go?
Ben, tell your story. We were talking off there, but Ben's got a new girlfriend, so he's doing girlfriend stuff. What'd
Ooh,
you
Oh,
do?
girlfriend stuff.
hold on. Really quick. I too got my adorable niece who's a year and a half old. Maybe a little early for this, but I got her a bow and arrow set.
Love
Oh
Um,
it.
my how fun.
well, I think my brother, who's the dad, I think my brother is be more excited about it than she is, but she'll grow into it. It's like for ages 3 and up, but she's a fast learner, she's a quick developer, so she'll be Katniss Everdeen soon, shooting arrows.
Oh, wait, it's, like, really for kids.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's like it. You go to Amazon and do like bow and arrows for kids, and there's a whole bunch of them, great reviews, and they
Oh
have
my god,
like little
fun.
suction targets. So I think
Yeah.
they're
Wait,
coming out there.
super short side story because then I wanna hear what happened at your Christmas, but when I was 5, my uncle, who is a hunter and had always had, like, guns in the house and, like, a big archery situation. Obviously, I'm not a hunter. Bow and arrow, you know what I'm saying, crossbow, all that stuff. When I was 5, he came over and he, like, I don't know why he had it with him, but I thought that he brought it for me for my birthday, so it was this, like, big joke that he brought this big, like, bow and arrow hunting set, and I was like, "Oh my god, for me, for my birthday!" And when I got married 10 years ago, he gave it to Matt as a gift, like,
Oh,
that
that's awesome.
same big, big hunting bow and arrow set that I had, like, had my eye on when I was a kid. Anyway,
Love it.
that was
That's
my funny
awesome.
story about bows
I
and
love
arrows.
it.
But your Christmas was good?
Yeah, it was good. I went back to for Thanksgiving. I was at my family's house in Maryland, but for Christmas, Katie and I, Katie's my girlfriend, we road tripped to Iowa. First time in the great state of Iowa. It was fun. We got to hang out with her family. She has 14 nieces and nephews, which is a lot.
Whoa, dang.
It's funny at all the family gatherings, people would come up and be like, "Is this too much for you? Like, is this crazy?" And I'm like, "Not really." Like, I came from a huge family. My dad's one of 9. So like I'm used to Christmas get-togethers being rambunctious to say the least. So it was great. Great time. And then we drove back on the 26th with which also happened to be a great day for a blizzard. So we got caught in a blizzard on the ride home. A 10-hour road trip turned into like a 16-hour road trip.
No.
And but
No.
I'm very proud of us because we were able to find the only road. There was one small county road that I think they just forgot to close. Like everything was closed. Everything going west to Colorado was closed. But I found one road on the online map that was still open because Google Maps wasn't showing anything. Found one road online that, like, said it was open, just covered in snow. So we, like, drove down that road. There were, like, cars spun out everywhere, and, of course, I got my truck, so four-wheel drive, and, we made it through, and then it, like, put us out on the highway in Colorado that was closed in both directions, but, like, we could still get on it. So, like, the part that we got on was open, and then it continued all the way through, and we didn't see another person on the road for, I kid you not, probably, like, 4 hours in both directions on a major highway. It was like it felt like the apocalypse. It was awesome.
Mm.
And then
That's, like, convenient, but also terrifying. What if something bad happened? There would be no
yeah,
one to help you.
like 2 hours into this highway journey, I was like, "Yeah, like, if we end up in a ditch here,
Yeah, huh?
there's no one here." But,
Yep.
I kept it nice and slow, and Katie, the trooper that she is, she are reading a book. So she read the book out loud to me, like a little audio book, and we just read that for like 10 plus hours in the car. It was great.
Oh my god, fun. I would be so nauseous.
It was great. Yeah, we made it back, and then of course for New Year's we went to rave. So that was fun.
Oh, casual.
Yeah, in Colorado, there's a called Decadence. It's like an EDM music festival. So it's just
What?
and it was fun. It was fun. We did that for New Year's Eve. Watched the ball drop. Listen to crazy techno music, EDM stuff, and it was a late night.
That's
It was fun.
fun. That sounds like fun. John, how was traveling seeing your family?
I did not go to an EDM rave, I can tell you that.
What?
Certainly not in Mississippi.
Probably have them. They probably have them.
They
Probably
probably
do.
it's probably buck dancing and banjos. No, it was fun. We spent, the whole week down in Mississippi, visited with old Roy and my mom and hung out. My sister was there. She's got 2 grandchildren now, so the babies were around the whole time. So I was literally just surrounded by family for a week, and truthfully, that's exactly what I wanted.
Mhm.
It's kinda weird. I was telling this to somebody that, living here in Ohio, I have 0 family here besides my girls, and so I'm kinda only surrounded by work people and gym people,
Mhm.
and it occurred to me when I got home, I'm never around people that love me. I'm around people that know me,
Hmm.
but I'm never around people that just unconditionally love me,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was like, "Man, I needed that week, like, a week of,
Mm.
just being around people that really care about you and wanna spend time with you and learn about your life, and they don't want anything from you other than your presence."
Yeah.
It's really kind of a mental reset that I
Yeah.
that didn't really occur to me I was missing, but I need to do more often, so it's kinda cool.
Oh, that's really nice and
Yeah,
special. The people who, like, there's no awkward silence, like, you could even just
yeah,
enjoy each other's presence sitting on the couch next to each other doing nothing, and that's special and unique.
yeah, and it's fun to get a whole week with both my girls together, and we get to do stuff that we wouldn't normally do, like, we went over to Ole Miss for the day and got a shop in the square, and if you've never been to
Mhm.
Oxford, Mississippi, like, it's a tiny little town. It has this gorgeous square. Imagine, like, what's, like, the preppiest store you can think of? It's like Brooks Brothers or
Vineyard
something like that.
vines.
That is exactly like that. The entire square is like vineyard vine.
Cute.
Yeah, everything, and it's just a fun little town with terrific food and little record stores, and they're selling I bought everything, like, including the sweatshirt, like,
Yeah.
you just buy everything Ole Miss while you're there. It's just super fun, so
Okay, now how long does Christmas stay up in your houses?
mine came down the day I got home.
Oh god.
Like yeah, like, right away.
Like, I'm done with this nonsense.
Well, no, it isn't that. So part of it is I do wanna put it behind me because my daughters put up the tree for me every year, and then this year we had to drop Megan off at Cincinnati because it's on the way
Oh,
back, and our car was there,
yeah.
so she didn't come back with us, and so now
Mm.
it's just me and Mira, and so there's part of me, like, I wanna take it down because it's something I do with a girl, so once it's gone, now I can wait till next Christmas, and truthfully, Bean was annoying the hell out of me, like, that he claimed the tree as his own, like, he's sleeping under it every day, and I'm like, "This no, it's gotta go, like, I can't do it."
Yeah.
So it all
Okay.
came down, yeah, quickly.
Ben?
Oh, well, my house, I didn't have any Christmas decorations up. Oh,
So
Okay.
quick, so real quick
it's
for
really
you. That's
fast.
great, yeah.
Mm.
Christmas, we always had a lot of Christmas decorations out that I was in charge of setting up every year back when I was married, and I think I've taken a few years off of that.
Hey.
You know what? I don't have to go chop a tree down in the wilderness and set it up and then have all the needles fall and then clean all of it up and break 8 ornaments, the glass shards get in my feet, and I don't even know where the ornament box is. That was a big mystery this year. We can't locate our
Mm.
ornament box, but, I my parents will keep it up probably until about this week, and then they'll start to take it down. Actually,
I will keep it up all month.
I love
Is
it.
that like a faux pas? Should I not be
No,
doing that?
I don't think
I
so.
I just really like I think we'll probably take our live tree down. We have a couple fake trees, but the live tree is probably she's spent.
I would
But I just
imagine.
really
Start
yeah.
becoming a major fire hazard, I think
Right.
that's
100%. But I just really like all the, like, really soft, beautiful ambient light that, like, the trees give off and, like, the garland that goes up the stairs has little lights on it. Like, there's all sorts of twinkle lights up around the house, and I'm not in a rush to take all those down because at night, it's really nice to turn all those on instead of, like, the side table lamps and the overhead lights, and I'm gonna miss that. There's no fun twinkle light spring decorations. That's not a thing.
you could just leave them on all year round.
Oh, that's really aggressive. Last year, we did that in our bedroom. We have, like, one of those, like, really thin, fake flocked trees with lights on it that's pretty. We left it up in our bedroom, and then we remodeled our master bedroom in the spring, and when the contractors came in April and that tree was still up in our room, it was, like, real embarrassing.
I
So and we were
love
like,
it.
"Well, it just has nice lights," and, they were like, "Okay." Like, I guess I could hang other lights.
No, I get it. I love the lights. I the same way. Like I like the ambient lighting. I like to come downstairs and the trees lit up and all
Yeah.
the other decorations are there. But for me, it's got to go away quickly. Like I like to get my life back together,
Yeah.
start my first quarter of the year with some new fitness
Yeah.
goals, and that's part of it. Out with the old, in with the new.
I get that. I totally do get that. And now that the holidays are over too, it has a different vibe because it's very anticipatory
Right.
beforehand. And now that it's all over, Matt has post-holiday blues like bad, like real because he's like you, John. Like he doesn't his family is not super far, but a minimum of 4 hours and some is even further. And yeah, his cup is so full whenever he's around family. And then when it's gone, he's just like, oh,
Right.
so he's got post-holiday blues really bad.
Back in college, I used to get it really bad because
Hmm.
I hated school so much. I hate homework more than anything in the world. So whenever whenever Christmas was over, it also meant I had to go back to school. So it was like this huge post Christmas depression whenever I get back to school. But
That's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
It's a real thing. Well, listen, I had a topic for us tonight. So this is our new format, Ben. You and I haven't even talked about it, but
having
we're
topics.
yeah, well, we're sort of
Yeah.
winging it. We're bringing resident experts on and just talking about the things that we think are important to our listeners and not doing traditional interviews. So this is not an interview of Ben Dziwulski from WODprep. You're a resident expert, so be
Whatever you want to
expertise.
call me, John, I'll take it.
Well, like, I thought you'd be a great one for this because I wanted to talk about community. When I was in Mississippi, I dropped in on an affiliate for 4 days with my dad, by the way, and it was super fun, and a chance to be out of my own affiliate, and I've seen a lot of affiliates, and it made me think about community and, like, what is community and why is it so different from gym to gym? And both of you have not only coached for years and years, but have been part of different communities, and so I thought it'd be a really interesting conversation to talk about what is community within CrossFit and kind of the dynamics of that. So, why don't we just jump in?
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is a question, but maybe I'll just kick it off of yeah, I think the biggest thing that occurred to me is how different they all are. Like
Mhm.
they're almost like snowflakes. You know what
Mm.
I mean? Like, or fingerprints is probably a nicer way to put it. It's just like every time I go to a gym, there are so many similarities, but so many differences based off of any number of factors. And I guess I was curious what you guys think are kind of the central tenets that affiliates need to really create a community. Eh,
Hmm.
Why don't we start with you?
I have a lot of thoughts. This could go in a lot of different directions, and I think community probably means very different things to people. I think for some people, community is probably as small as do you feel comfortable and welcome in the class that you walk into? And for others, community might be bigger. Like what how do your fellow gym mates and you connect outside of the gym? What sort of social events do you go to? What is your gym known for? Is there something that you're sort of like famous for in the community that is more than just classes in a CrossFit gym? So I think that that can kind of like mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. For me, when you say the word CrossFit community, I kind of think small. I kind of think like, what is it that makes your particular gym special in the hour of fitness where people decide to spend their money and leave their homes or their families or their jobs or whatever and spend an hour with you? Like, how are they feeling welcomed and comfortable and supported in that space for that hour? And I think that there's a lot of different factors in there. But to me, John, like that's like when you're talking about how every gym is really, really different, that to me is like the first place that my mind goes. 'Cause, like, I've been to a lot of gyms over the years. I've dropped in all over the world. I've coached at several different gym locations over the past 12, 13 years. And that is the biggest difference I see is like the vibe when I get to class. Like, sometimes the vibe is very much like everyone is warm and welcoming and wants to say hi and ask me where I'm from or whatever if I'm a drop-in. "Oh, hello, Griff. Hello." If you hear heavy breathing, it's not me. Though that I do a lot of heavy breathing now that I'm in my 3rd trimester, but it's Griff. He's in this room with me tonight. And in some other gyms, it's kind of cold. Like, sometimes the environment is cold, and that's not always a bad thing. It's not necessarily on other people. My happiness or my comfort doesn't always have to be on other people, but it's just very different if there's no one in the class or no directive from the class to be like, "Hey, this is a really amicable and friendly space." Sometimes the
Right.
timing of the class matters too, right? Like, at 5:30 AM, not everyone wants to high five and pat butts, and that's okay too. I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I just think that that is kind of how I would define quote unquote community and how I feel that it is quite different in the different gyms I've been to.
Nice. Ben, what about you?
Yeah, to piggyback on what Nikki said, I think there's like a micro community and a macro community and then like the full CrossFit community. Right. So micro focuses on like the class time. Most people have a class time that they usually attend, and a lot of times those become their own mini communities. It's like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, Ben always shows up 5 minutes late, but that's Ben. That's what he does. Or oh, so and so always has to leave early because I got to go do X Y Z. Like you have all these like little micro communities, and like the community that I'm a part of is a quote unquote competitors class, and it's an awesome community. We the same people are generally in there each day, and when it's time to partner up for a lift, we all know who to share the barbell with because who can lift
Yeah.
as much as us. And there's like this class community where it's like, oh man, they don't have muscle ups yet, but they just got their first muscle up. Like people know that so and so just got their first set of muscle ups. Like we just had a girl, Maddie, who's one of my friends. She just hit her first set of unbroken bar muscle ups ever, or for since she had a baby at least. And she hit like 4 unbroken the other day, and everyone was cheering her on. So you have like this like micro community of the class time that you generally go to, which I think that a lot of times is all about the people who come to the class. Like if you just have a bunch of grumpy people that happen to come to your class, you might not have as much co- good community feelings. And then you have the macro or the slightly bigger, the whole gym. And I think that community really is driven by the people who run the gym, the owner,
Mhm.
general managers, and coaches. They can do things that facilitate a greater whole of that macro, the whole CrossFit gym. And they can do things that basically integrate class times. So if someone's always coming to that 6 a.m. class, they probably never met a 6 p.m. person, but they do maybe the annual Christmas party, or they
Mhm.
do the in-house competition, or they do at Friday Night Lights during the open. So I think there's things that CrossFit gyms can do, and I think it really does start at the top with the leadership. Are they facilitating scenarios or social hours or pickleball leagues or kickball leagues or whatever where people are coming together that are normally sweating side by side because you're gonna see that person maybe on the leaderboard all the time, but you don't know much about them. The way you get to meet those people are a lot of times in the non-class hours. It's in the extra stuff that the community or that the gym either facilitates, or some gyms don't facilitate it, and that's totally fine. But I think I ran an affiliate for a couple of years way back in 2013, and I think we had a very strong community within the classes, but it wasn't until we started doing like the in-house competition, or like we started
Mhm.
running an extracurricular weightlifting class, and we started like finding ways to blend these members. And I remember Juan met Andrew for the first time, and I was like, I knew they were going to be friends, but they never see
Mhm.
they come to different times. And then you start to see this bonding occur that then facilitates to non-gym activities. So like there's a group of people from the gym that I go to that like text me, like, hey, you want to play pickleball today? Sure. We might not have seen each other for a few weeks because we're in the same class, but we'll go hang out and play pickleball. So that's when I think of community. And then of course there's like the whole CrossFit community, which is more of like we all share the same cult terms. We all laugh about the same things. We all laugh at John's memes together.
John's memes. Yeah, that's what I
Right.
was thinking about.
Things like that. So there's multiple layers of the community, but I think to truly establish a good CrossFit community within a gym that transcends that micro community of class, I think it really comes from the leadership in the gym. And there's a lot of people who do it well and a lot of people who don't necessarily do it well. And that might not be the priority, but it's very palpable. We've all dropped into a lot of different gyms in our long CrossFit careers. I think I'm coming up on 16 or 17 years, gone to a lot of different ones. And there's like, I actually remember I was at a fishing tournament in Louisiana that like happened to also be in October or around Halloween. And I remember within 3 classes of going to that gym, I felt like I was everyone's best friend. I knew where all
Mhm.
the restaurants were. I got invited to 3 parties, right? It was just like it was crazy just in college being able to try out a gym and immediately you are like a member of that community as a whole.
Yeah.
And then there's some gyms you drop in and it's just like, pay me the money, do the workout, goodbye.
Yeah.
Right. So it's interesting how some gyms facilitate it and some gyms.
John, you are part of that leadership team at your gym. How do you feel about the notion that the community vibe really can come from the top?
Yeah, no, I fully agree with it. It's funny, I had not considered this micro, community that Ben was discussing. I dropped into 2 different classes in my own gym this week. I was in the 4 o'clock class 4:30 class yesterday, which is a class I don't typically go to, and then I went to the 12 o'clock class today because I had a kind of a break in my workday, and I've been to that class a lot, and when I left yesterday's class, I thought, "Man, nobody really talked to me."
Mm.
Like, they weren't rude to me, but no one, like, was just BSing and joking around.
Mhm.
And then at today's class, everybody was because they all know me very well. And so it's interesting that I'd never really considered that because it's not an experience I normally have. But now that you said it out loud, Ben, I'm gonna have to put some thought into that. Like, how do we address that at the macro level? But from a leadership standpoint, yeah, I fully agree. I witnessed this at CrossFit Mentality. Scott Panchek is the master
Mhm.
of building a local community, and he keeps it's really simple. I sat down with him once and, like, just spouted it off to him, and he's like, "Holy crap, you figured that out in no time flat." Like, all they do is really simple. It's start on time, end on time. They're religious about that. If class starts at 5, you can guarantee when the clock hits 5, they start regardless of who's in the room or not.
Mhm.
And it gets really noticeable for everybody else if you're walking in late because they're so timely and people love it. And same for ending on time. If it's from 5 to 6, they are done at 6 and the next class is coming in. And members really appreciate that consistency. The second thing they do really well is the gym is so clean you could eat off the floors, and I'm not exaggerating, is the cleanest gym I've ever seen. And it's kind of like, do you ever go to bed in a clean bedroom? I know you probably
Ah,
don't. I
yes.
You
Or
used
like
to,
you
Nikki,
just
before you had
washed
kids.
your
Yeah.
sheets. Yeah, well, yeah.
Right.
But like you just
Right.
washed your sheets and you showered and you washed your hair. You guys probably don't. Sorry, sorry, John. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, ooh, it's so cozy and it doesn't always happen. It's a real treat. Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
that's it. There's a comfort in
Mhm.
the organization and the cleanliness that people really, really appreciate. And the equipment is not only top-notch equipment, but it's well maintained, and you can't underscore that enough. Like, you get on an assault bike that looks like it's gonna tip over or it's all rusty and gross, and they don't all move the same. It's just a bad feeling. And then probably the 2 other things that they do really well is all of the coaches are well coached themselves,
Mhm.
meaning whatever Scott says, you can guarantee the next coach coming in is gonna say the same thing. You're not getting you get different cues because you need different cues, but you get the same consistent information from coach to coach, which is, really cool to see. And then outside of that, I think they're just kinda hyper positive because he
Mhm.
is, and
Yeah.
and all of that blends together and starts creating this community of positivity and excitement. Like, if you get to ring the PR bell at CrossFit Mentality, you are so excited. Not because you hit a PR or get to ring the bell, but because you know everyone in the room is gonna cheer.
Yeah. You know what all of that I feel like adds up to is like that community is built on real pride for that gym.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure, and it definitely radiates from the top down. I mean, there's no denying that whatsoever, but they also raise the expectation of the members, which I think is an interesting topic. As I was kinda scribbling notes for this, I'm like, "How what part in this do the members play?" And in mentality, they play a huge part in it, to your point, because of pride.
Mhm.
There's a certain kinda swagger they have for how well they're coached and how good they're at it and how hard they
Mhm.
work and how hard they celebrate community, and it's a really interesting concept to think a lot of your community is driven by the people that are paying you to be there,
I
you know?
know. And I think that that also makes it difficult sometimes to put expectations on members because you how do I put this? It's like, to me, it comes from the top. I fully agree with both of you guys. If you have a really positive, infectious leader or leadership or management team, and that comes down to the coaches, if someone really starts class off being stoked to be there and being happy to see the members and asking people about their lives and being that coach friend, really, it's hard not to let that be
Right,
infectious. But at the same time, I think my community is quite lucky in that, like, every class has a few what I call, like, the quote unquote "mayor of CrossFit," right? Like, that's my husband, he's the mayor of
right,
CrossFit. If someone walks into the gym, he's, like, shaking hands and kissing babies. He's like, "Hi, how are you? I'm Matt, and I wanna know everything about you, and welcome to class, and this is so and so, and this is so and so. You guys should share a bar," or whatever. But I don't think that you can necessarily put the onus on the people who are paying you to be there
right.
because some people are introverted, and some people are quiet, and some people are new to the town and they don't wanna talk. Some people had a really bad day, and they
I
don't necessarily wanna come in and radiate sunshine and shit rainbows in the class, and, like, I respect that too. So it's kinda
well,
hard.
Ben has done a really good job at this. I'm not gonna stroke your ego here, Ben, but I'm going to a little.
Please,
I've
I'm
been
ready.
I know you are, you always are. I've been around a lot of WODprep members, and I didn't even get to tell you the story, but I went to my old gym, the very first gym I ever belonged to,
Ooh,
CrossFit Distinction, a couple weeks ago for the 12 Days of Christmas workout. I do it there
fun.
as often as I can. And I walked in the door, and I know all the coaches, but there's one I've known for years, and he's in the back working out. And so I walked over to see him while he's in the middle of his workout, and he's like, "Hey, I'll be done in a minute. I'm doing my WOD prep training." He's
No.
he's training with WOD prep.
Yeah.
And when he was done, he spent 10 minutes telling me all the great things he's learned from WOD prep. I'm like, "Bro, I don't need to hear about Ben. Leave me."
Please stop,
You know?
please stop.
But that's very common when I meet people from WODprep that are members, that are paying members for these courses, and part of your community is that they're really excited to be part of that community. How do you build that, Ben?
I think the I mean, an early business mentor, I think, taught me best where it's like whenever you're even trying to sell something, like we run a company, goal of people to build to when I join my email list, my goal is for them to buy things. I know it's
Mhm.
shocking, but but the way that we, I think, facilitate positive community experiences is because it's like the golden rule. We treat people how we want to be treated. So
Totally.
I always, my customer support team is incredible at this, and that's why I'm not in it, and they are. The goal is that we always want when people leave WOD Prep, even if they're leaving us and they say, "Hey, I got to cancel my membership and I got to go try something else." We try to make that experience like a great experience. We're not like we never spite people. We are always just like trying to lead with value. I want people to get value from WOD Prep, whether they pay me a cent or not. And at everything we do, we're trying to like over deliver the promises that we make. And I think maybe that has something to do with the community. And then also I truly think I just got really, really lucky some of the initial hires that I made and some of the initial athletes that I got. A lot of my initial athletes were masters athletes trying to learn ring muscle ups. And I just worked my butt off to try to make sure they got the results they wanted. And when they did, they told everybody about WOD Prep. And then all those people when they come in, we try to make sure that they they achieve the goals that they want to achieve, and we help them as best as we can. And then they go out and tell more people. So I think it's more of like this. There's no like huge evil strategy to create it. It's just like just treat people the way you want to be treated. Like, I mean, I went to Chipotle recently, and I go there a lot. And like the difference between the person who like knows they care about your burrito bowl, and they're
Mhm.
adding a little bit of extra chicken, and when they're like they're giving you a solid, and you're like, yes, this is awesome. I love this place. And then there's a person that just skimps a little bit, or doesn't even look you in the eye, or doesn't was trying to rush you along. It's like those little tiny experiences that either rub you the right way or the wrong way. We're always
Yeah.
trying to rub people the right way, even if it's a negative experience. Like, even if they're like, hey, I want a refund, we're like, absolutely. Like, that's why we have a lifetime money back guarantee. Like, here's your refund. I hope that this helps. Also, we released this video. This might help you. It's totally free. Let us know if there's any way we can help you in the future. It's not like, here's your money back,
Yeah.
or trying to fight it. It's always like, treat others the way you wish you were treated.
I think that value is a really interesting potential tenant to kind of include in the bottom of this community pyramid, because when you provide something to people, they kind of are really feeling a very specific way about you and maybe will be more inclined to
Right.
give back or give more of themselves or be a part of it. And when you think about all the value that like Ben gives at WODprep for the greater CrossFit community during the open, right? Like he's providing all of these open prep videos for free and staying up until 2 o'clock in the morning the night that they are announced so that he can figure out exactly how to break things down and give people strategy recommendations. And that's something that like people can turn to you and know you for, and then want to give back to you or want to become a part of your community, want to buy things later on or say nice
Right.
things to John about you when they're working out. Or John, like your affiliate does a lot for the greater community. I know that you host classes specifically for folks with impairments and disabilities, or that you have a lot of options when it comes to like, oh, you what class time do you want to come to, or financially how can we get you in here, or whatever it may be, like looking for ways to truly just bring fitness to people. And I think a lot of affiliates do that in a lot of ways by offering your first class is free, or you just buy a t-shirt when you drop in, or my affiliate has a buddy day once a month, totally free for anyone come to class with your friends, and we won't pressure you to stay, but we sure hope that you had a good time. And I think that that might be just a really nice way for people to want to reciprocate becoming a part of the community or giving more of themselves to the community or feeling more comfortable in the community, because value is just a really interesting way to frame that as
Right.
to like, why do people stick around? Because you've given them something.
Yeah, and the law of reciprocity is very real. It's like ingrained in our psyches. If someone does you a really big favor, especially if they do it from a place where they're not necessarily expecting anything back, they're just doing it because they're like, "Hey, I if I can help you, I'm going to do it. Here's some." It's especially one that's not like, "I'm going to help, but you need to do this for me." When it comes from a true place of like of love and caring and understanding and like truly caring about, in this case, someone's fitness, then there's just something that happens kind of magically, and it trickles down into whether it's your online business or whether it's your CrossFit community. It's like when you're doing the right thing and you're treating people the way that you want to be treated, and you're offering giving your members a chance to bring friends for free and not trying to nickel and dime them at every single corner, then all of a sudden it creates this incredible retention mechanism to get people to stay, and then they want to tell their friends about CrossFit because it makes them feel so warm and fuzzy and good and fit. So they want to go tell people, and they want to bring people into this community because they know how incredible it's been for them because of that value that they get out of it. They don't feel like they're just another dollar sign, or they're always being upcharged at every turn and corner for every single little thing, or they feel like they're a valued member of the community. So they're like, man, this is really impacting me. Let's go find others. And I think
Mhm.
again, it comes from the top, setting up those kinds of intentions and that mindset. And you're
I think people often think of value as stuff or
Mm.
discounts. And I don't think it's that. I've been looking at this and thinking hard about this for my own affiliate, just even in the last couple of days. When I was in Mississippi, I was talking to the affiliate owner there, and he's building a new location, and he has a great location now, but he's building a new one, and it's gonna be bigger and state of the art. And I was asking him if they're gonna be 24 hours because our gym is 24 hours. And
Oh.
I think a lot of people think of that as value, and I guess it is to some degree because you do get more hours for your membership where you can come in if you're a first responder and you can't get in the gym in traditional hours, maybe you wanna go up there at 10 PM when we're not running classes, and you can do that. And that's a nice thing to have, but I don't really view that as true value. I think value is when you are creating moments that matter for your affiliate members, things that really mean something. Like I was watching our adaptive class come in yesterday, and I just wrapped up my workout and I'm dying. Like I'm getting really old and I'm just sitting there, like sitting there trying to get my life together. And I'm watching all these athletes come in, and our adaptive class is mostly people with developmental issues. So they've got Down syndrome or Tourette's, and we've got a couple that are blind and like a lot of different things. And so they're all wildly different spectrums for all of them. But I'm watching them come in and they're all interacting with each other and they're laughing and giggling and smiling and hugging each other. And I watched a family member, I think it was a father of one of these young women. And he's like, "All right, are you all set?" And he like kissed her on top of the head and said, "Okay, have fun. I'll be back in an hour." And I could see in his face, like this was a moment that mattered for him because his daughter was getting to do something that he probably never thought she'd be able to do.
Mm,
And he's getting a moment where he can go do whatever he needs to do without having to be a caregiver. And she's going to have a blast. And it's a win win for them. It's a moment
mm,
that matters. And so for me, that's the value of like, how do you create that within your community where you're changing people's lives and they want to be around each other. Like that's the value of it. And what I think what makes CrossFit so wildly different than Gold's Gym or, Planet Fitness or
mhm.
any of these traditional big box, or even like maybe even makes us so different from like an Orange Theory or F45 or some of those. I don't know.
I think that's kind of why, to bring this whole thing full circle, when we started this conversation and you asked what truly makes up community, my mind kind of went immediately to what Ben has deemed like the micro community, because I feel like those moments happen in that hour of magic. And when we think back about like some of our favorite community stories that like we've had, John and you and I have had a lot of conversations about like some of the best stories that the media team has told over the years, or like where have been the real moments where we can like let the community shine and highlight the affiliates and the wonderful work they're doing. Like those stories are always about moments like that in a class, or like someone's first muscle up in a class, or like I don't know. I just feel like they're like micro stories, and they're the ones that when we amplify them, we all feel the best about them, or they're those micro
Right.
moments, or they're those. So that's kind of like why my brain went there first. I agree with everything else that we're saying too, by the way. And I think that there's even a greater level of community that we haven't touched as much upon when it comes to just the fact that we are all quote unquote CrossFitters. And what does that mean?
Right.
But I fully agree that I think that the magic really comes in sometimes things that you can't even see. And that's sometimes what makes it hard, right? It's
Yeah.
like even the introverts or the people in class who aren't really talking, or you have to break them out of their shell, like they might have had some sort of insane breakthrough that you don't even know about because they didn't even tell you, but they like went home and like I don't know, like played with their kids on the ground for the first time without being in pain. And that is like such
Right.
a huge win that we feel so strongly about as coaches and owners. And it's just so tiny, but it's not. It's massive.
Well, I think a lot of it comes from the coaches. I'd be curious, Ben, to hear from you on around how you get your coaches so good at this, because I do think that's
Mm,
the one thing I consistently hear from WOD preppers, if that's what you refer to them as,
Sure.
is that they'll say CJ's great at this or Savannah's great at this or whoever is coaching them, and they rave about their individual coaching. Hell, when Ben and I were in Madison together, you can't even make this up, Nikki. This is like embarrassing. We're on the sidewalk in downtown Madison, and somebody drives past in a pickup truck, leans out the window and goes, "You got me my first muscle up."
get out.
Swear to God, you can't make that up.
Out.
You cannot
Ben,
make that
that's
up.
like that's a movie moment.
But what's cool about that is, like, that's the point, is, like, people think about their coaches as, "This person helped me achieve
Yes.
X,"
Yes.
whatever that is, and they never forget that, and it takes a
Yep.
special person to be able to deliver on that. How do you get your coaches so good at that?
I mean, one, I truly think I got really lucky with some of the initial coaches that I hired, but in the hiring process, you can just tell cares, kind of like what you were talking about with like a clean gym or starting and ending on. These are small indications of the person who's running the show, whether it be the individual coach or the owner of the gym, truly cares because their attention to detail is there. Someone who doesn't care about something, if I don't care about my truck, you're probably going to notice it when inside of it and it's dirty and it's things are broken and everything like that. But if someone who really cares about their car, if you get in that car, guess what? It's going to be clean. It's got wax on it. The oil change isn't going to be expired. It's like all these little details that make the whole of someone caring. And I think that applies so much to a gym. All these little things, or in my case, an online company, all little things. It's the little interactions with the support team. It's like I hire people who truly care about what they're trying to be hired for, and that's reflected in the end product. And then another thing I want to talk about is like what Nikki was saying. Like you have all these like wins, and for some people they might be micro wins where we look at that and they're like, oh yeah, they just cool. They front squatted a bar with a plate on each side. But like for that individual, that was a huge win because it's their first time ever not squatting the trainer bar. And it's
Mhm.
coaches in the gyms that can notice that and celebrate that. That's where you get those like warm and fuzzy aha moments that make people all the with that micro community or the macro community, the whole gym. It's like training your coaches and the people in your gym to celebrate the wins that you see. Right. So when someone hits a PR that Kevin, the owner of the gym that I go to, like you can, he's more excited about your PR than he is of anything he's ever done, right? And guess what? That when you're a leader, you lead by example. So he sets that example by celebrating people's wins, by talking to them, by like really just putting energy and letting that person know that he really cares about them. And then that trickles down to everyone else. And now we're all celebrating the wins of other people. So I think it in my case, I hired some really good people, really cared about their craft, and then that care reflects in how they treat their athletes. And then within a gym, it's like you have the leaders who, when they show that they are truly invested in an athlete's success and they celebrate it, they go out of their way to be like, "Hey, everyone, special shout out to Sally. She just PR'd her front squat. Big round of applause for
Mhm.
Sally." And she might blush and like, "Oh, it's not," but like that sort of little tiny thing that you can do as a gesture of appreciation or showing some that you notice that they won and you're celebrating their success. That is just domino effect that I think ripples through the.
You wanna hear something funny? I signed my baby sister up for Hard Work Pays Off Sweat because she had some weight loss goal she was trying to reach, and she was had kinda hit a plateau, and so I signed her up for it, and she crushed it and lost the rest of her weight. I'm talking to her about it over
Ooh.
over a holiday. She looks great, looked really great, and she's feeling confident and great about herself. And so I'm talking to her about it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Sammy's so sweet," and like she's going on and on about Sammy, as if I'm like, "Do you know who Sammy is?" And she's like, "Well, yeah, she just had a baby. She was out." I'm like, "No, no, no. Do you know who Sammy is?" And she's not a CrossFitter. She has no clue, like no clue
Oh my god, how
whatsoever
funny.
what a big deal Sammy is in our community. I'm like, Sammy is revered in the CrossFit community, and you're talking
Yeah.
about like she's just some random coach.
But
Or
isn't
so
that great? Like
yeah,
that there's no ego that comes with their programming or their what and same with Ben. Like Ben is a pillar in our community, but there's no weird ego that comes with well, maybe there is Ben. I don't really know. But I think if people are leading out the side of their trucks being like, "Hey bro, you got me my muscle up. Thanks." Then
right.
you're Coach Ben. You know what I mean? And they're feeling about you the same way that they would feel about anyone who helped them achieve a goal. I have a question for you guys. that we haven't really talked about that is related to all of this. How much do you think the nature of what CrossFit is, like just the nature of the methodology and the vibe that we have, like I do think that that sort of lends itself to a very specific type of person, which is why like a lot of that type of person ends up as a coach or steps into an affiliate or and I know that we're trying to diversify that as much as possible because we want everyone to step into an affiliate and get fit. But there's definitely like a type of person that this style of training resonates with. And so how much of that plays a part in the community that we build? Because we're all pretty similar. All of the like think about like the fanatics of the CrossFit or your best friends in class. We're all similar in a way. Our personalities jive in a way. How
You
much
can
of that is just part of like being drawn to this methodology as the type of person that we are?
you can say it. We're all idiots. That's okay.
Yeah, that
We
might
know.
be it.
We know.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, Glassman said it best. He always said that CrossFit is for anyone, but it's not for everyone.
Mm,
And I think he was spot on with that. I think we have a very unique community, a very unique way that we train. I think not everyone's mental mindset lends to how hard it can be,
mhm,
even scaled, right? Like I've always believed anyone can do it any age. My dad started at 75 and he does it just fine. And there are tons of stories just like that where you come in and you learn to scale and you do it. I don't want to say at your own pace, but your relative intensity level is different. Like Ben and I have wildly different intensity levels. Like I'm really good at rowing and he's not. Like that's how it works. Right.
You're never gonna live that down, Ben. He beat
Never.
you that one time at Wadapalooza
I
and
know.
now
I never
Never.
understood
forever.
shit.
Never living it down. But everyone has a different intensity level. But I do think I'm positive there are gyms that fail to teach that. And I think that makes it hard. Meaning like there are like I'll be interested to hear from Ben on some of this. There are gyms with competitive tracks, like sounds like gym that Ben is in, as he should be because he's a great CrossFitter. But there are entire gyms look like that's their entire track.
Yeah,
And if
Right.
you don't fall into that, you're never going to be comfortable there. And then there's gyms like mine where the average age at Chagrin Falls CrossFit is probably 45.
right.
And it's all families with young kids and people just want to be fit. And we don't really care about beating each other. We just want to come in and have a good time and leave feeling good. And so I do think it has a lot to do with the mindset of the owner, the coaches, as to how welcoming that feels and how many
It
people we can draw in.
For sure, it does, and, like, it's interesting because due to the affiliate model rather than franchise model, right, there are no standard operating procedures about, like, you need to have X amount of normal people classes and X amount of elite competitor classes and X amount of adaptive classes and like, there is no standard model for that, right? And so the unfortunate thing is that there are probably lots and lots of people that got turned away by CrossFit because they stepped into a gym that didn't have the community that they were after. Maybe they stepped into a gym that was a bunch of soccer moms and dads and they want to be a superstar athlete. And they're like, oh, this is stupid. And then there's the opposite side of that corn, maybe. There's the opposite side of that coin where, a lot of people, they just want to come in. They're like, yeah, I want to try this whole CrossFit thing. And then they see the elitist of the elite doing handstand walks and snatching 300 pounds. And they're like, whoa, I'm out of here. And they don't feel
Mhm.
welcomed. And the coach doesn't do a good job modifying and explaining how it's scalable. And there's like so many factors because we are in this franchise model. But also that's what makes it so beautiful is or because we're in the affiliate model, that's what makes it so beautiful. We can like, there's a different flavor of CrossFit gym in each city, there's a few different flavors. Like there's a super competitive gym in Denver called CrossFit Omnia. And then there's like the original one I started out, CrossFit Vantage, which is like very much like, hey, no matter your fitness level, like this gym is great for you. And it was. It wasn't good for me. And that's why I moved because I wanted to play around in the competitive space for more. And then the gym I go to currently has flavors of both. But
Mhm.
it's both a problem in the CrossFit community or like something that, you know, it's just going to be there. But it's also, I think, a good because if someone is willing to try a couple different flavors, eventually find that hopefully that community in that class, micro macro community that really resonates.
I think the solve for it though is you have to have coaches that are really involved with the members right at point of sale. Like they have to be right there as you're doing the movements. Like I dropped in on a gym not that long ago. I was a guest. I'm not going to name the gym, but I dropped in and I'm in the warm up. We're starting to warm up and the workout had deadlifts in it. And the coach says to the whole class, "You guys look like you have deadlifts. We're just warm up for a few minutes." And now I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, I've been doing this for a dozen years, but my deadlift varies from day to day."
Mhm.
Like, I would appreciate a little coaching, and I'm looking around the room at some of my my peers in this situation, thinking their deadlifts don't look so good either.
Mhm.
And it kind of occurred to me in that moment, as much as I make fun of warm-ups, how important it is to have a coach that's actually going to instruct you and keep you on task
Yeah.
and truthfully, it was that moment of apathy, which is what I felt it was.
Mm.
That moment of apathy that made me think, "Does this guy really care about how well this goes for me? Is he gonna care in the middle of the workout if I skip some reps or if, my reps don't look good?" And that came true. He didn't at all.
Mm.
Like, it just like, the workout kinda came and went, and it was very blah. And if I wasn't as experienced in this community as I am, I'm not sure I would have left going, "Wow, that was a great experience. I really wanna try CrossFit again." You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I
That's
don't like that.
that might also drive a really dirty truck. Like, yeah, I mean, that's like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
example I talked about earlier where it's like eh, apathy is a good word for it. It's like I'm when you're hiring coaches, that's the number one red flag. I don't particularly care if I'm hiring a coach, especially when I own the affiliate. I'm not trying to hire the best athlete. I'm trying to hire
Right.
and a coach is someone who cares, don't have apathy. They're not like, whatever, right? But like they care about the details. They care about each individual member. They talk to each person, even if it's a newbie. If it's a newbie, they might talk to them even more because they're trying to facilitate a good experience for them. It's the coaches that are just like, hey, I'm here to get a paycheck and I gotta work out after this and I'm training for the games or whatever. But just like the ones that are just like, "Hey, it's you guys got to cover. Is that apathy that I think can really kill communities and it can kill the, the potential new member that might have fallen in love with it if they had just gotten the right coach to put them through.
Mhm.
Well, let's be clear though, Ben, no one's doing it for the paycheck.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Literally no one.
No.
the free
Can
members.
I
Yeah, yeah.
the free yeah. Can I piggyback on apathy? Because
Yeah.
I believe you're right, apathy can absolutely kill a community. The other thing that I think can totally kill a community, which is like kind of the opposite of your question, John, of like what builds community, but what I think can kill community is the drama. Like the shit talking, pot stirring, class rivalry that isn't like the fun leaderboard rivalry, the like, well, I don't like the 5:30 class because they're
Right.
too tense, or I don't like the fucking noon class because soccer moms can whatever. That I think is the worst. And I know people who have left gyms because the cattiness feels too much like high school. Like we're all adults. We've like outgrown that. And I think that from the top down, a leadership standpoint, that needs to be like halted. Like, I think that the leadership of a gym needs to be like, "That's not something that we tolerate here," and address it if it comes up. I think the coaching staff needs to be all on the same page. I don't even think all your coaches need to be best friends, but I think that they all need to, like, stand for the right things at the gym and not throw anyone or anything under the bus or call out that behavior if they see it happening in class. Like, I think that's like having a leadership team and a management team on a united front about just the right way to act in the gym, the right code of conduct for everyone,
Yeah.
I think is really important.
I do think that I'm gonna steal Ben's idea he mentioned earlier about introducing people from other classes, the 5 a.m.s to
It's
the
a great
5
idea.
p.m.s,
Yeah.
and find like, the Open's coming up, so I was thinking that's a g would might maybe it's a great opportunity to put together some sorta in-house competition where you're pairing people from different classes that don't know each other, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Just a chance to build community and get people to know each other, and they can talk and start texting, and I think
Yeah.
that's where a lot of that drama goes away when you know someone and you trust them, and for me, it's
Mhm.
always about trust. When you trust someone, you're not gonna talk behind their back. You just say it to their face.
Yeah.
Like, that's just kinda the way it works, and but you have to know someone to trust them, and I think figuring out ways to get people introduced and kinda cross friendship lines is super important, so I'm stealing that from you, Ben.
We did that once years ago. It was the same folks that I'm currently still with at the affiliate that I'm at, but we were at a different affiliate at the time where we had an internal competition and the whole point of it was pairing a typically RX athlete with a typically scaled athlete and just everybody just signed up and the gym paired you. Like you got a mystery partner. And it was oftentimes someone that you didn't know, and it was so fun. Like,
Yeah.
nobody had a bad time, and also, like, nobody was going in it for blood, so to speak, like, it was no cash
Right.
prize.
People are
Like, it
trying to
was
put together a super team.
no, no,
Yeah.
and I do think that that happens sometimes if you have, like, a super competitive person and a super not competitive person, like, someone is always worried that they're gonna, like, slow the other person down or they're not gonna be the right vibe for them, and that's, like, a clash of personality, but if that's the whole point, if the whole point is just going in and, like, making friends and seeing what you can do, then I think that kinda goes away.
Yeah. I think I'm stealing that idea too. Matter of fact, I may have you send that to me offline, Nikki, so I can
Mhm.
run that past Jen and Tom. I think that could be a
Yeah.
good idea for us
Oh,
for
what
the
did we
open.
call it? We had a really fun name. It'll come to me.
You'll figure it
Ours
out.
was called Blue Crab CrossFit In-House Competition. It was a crazy name.
I
We had
love
a
it.
fun name. I can't
You guys
remember.
did
I'll have to
you
check
did some
the
sorta Hogwarts thing last year. I remember
We do
that.
it every year. We
Yeah.
just wrapped it a few months ago. We do it in the fall. We do it in November. We call it the House Cup, and we sort the gym into the houses, and we kind of do it as open prep because it is like a little internal comp, and we all do the same workout on a Monday, and you can redo it if you want, like whatever. But you get points
You have
for
a sorting hat?
your the gym owner, Dave, is our sorting hat. Except for he
That's cool.
knows if he doesn't sort me into Gryffindor, I'm not doing it.
Right.
Like I'm straight up revolting. But it's really fun because what he does is he makes it so that you get points. So you get a point for doing the workout. You do get a point if you have the highest score for the day, but you get the most points by doing other things in and around the gym. Like you get 3 points for posting a stupid social media challenge on a weekly basis, or you got 5 points if you brought someone to buddy day. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there are so many ways to earn points for your team that have nothing to do for your fitness, and that's just a really fun way. Like you got and beneficial for him. Like you got points if you left a Google review or something like that. You know what I mean? And there were like fun prizes and
Yep.
things. And then every year the team that wins gets like a flag printed with everyone's name on it. We put it up in the gym.
Yes.
Yeah,
Love it.
it's fun.
Or kind of button up against time here, but the kinda last question is still around community. Ben, you guys do every year a WODprep Open. You doing that again this year?
We actually didn't do that last year. We stopped because we had some other projects that we were focusing on. It frankly takes a lot of team. But now that we put a lot more energy into our programming, WODprep programming is something we're promoting a lot that's been growing. I would not be surprised if we do that again in the fall.
Are
So
you still planning to do your open videos that Nikki's husband apparently watches religiously, even though he
He
doesn't watch
does.
Nikki at all?
He doesn't.
of
That's
course,
true.
of course. As long as WODprep is alive and functioning, we will definitely do open prep videos. So that's my busiest time of year for sure. But it's where we put our heart and soul into everything from top to bottom, both from the free content side of things and then people who are actually inside our programs and stuff like that. We really pull out all the stops. So we will do it again this year and probably do it again for the quarterfinals since so many people will be making the
Yeah.
quarterfinals.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, and that is so helpful that you do that, Ben, and I love that like your whole entire team just pours themselves into that time of year because it is so important to our greater CrossFit community. And I know that you guys, you don't just throw your suggestions out there into the ether. Like I know that you test and retest and retest the workouts with all the different strategies you recommend, and you have a very short window to do it. So thank you for breaking down your bodies for us and making recommendations so that we know if we should do sets of 1, 2, or 10.
Yeah. The first video I always release, like, I mean, the first one, I do it without testing. I'll test a few of the movements, like maybe, but normally the first iteration, like the first strategy guide that I release is like just based on whatever 16 years of CrossFit coaching experience where I'm like, all right, I've seen a version of this before. Here's what it's going to be. But then always during the course of that weekend, as we've tested it as a team and our athletes have done it, we always come back out with some sort of like updated strategy where it's like, actually, this might be even better. So we always like release the
Mhm.
initial ones that people can get their quick hit and then release updates as the goes on.
Do you guys just like camp out in the gym for the entire week or 3-week period? Like I envision you have like a war room and you're like, quick, do 10 burpees and tell me what it feels like. I got to write it down. And then you put it on like a chalkboard. And then you're like the guy that has the chalkboard with the crazy strings. And you're like, if you do this over here and then this over there.
It's more it's like so it's really it's just me and my last year was just me and a video guy. It was me and my and Travis in WODprep headquarters, and then my team is in a virtual war room where it's like we hop on a call as soon as the workout's released, talk about strategy. Boom, I go out and make my content for the public while my coaches are like doing everything internally. We're releasing content as I'm making it, and it's just the whole team is on deck, but especially me, my videographer, and then my video editor, social media director, head coach. I mean, we're all in it.
It's
I
awesome.
love it. Yeah, I love it. I meant to tell you, Ben, I had a moment of zen this week. I had gotten a message from Allie, who Nikki was on the show a few weeks ago, social media Allie,
Oh, our alley. Yep.
our Allie, and she messaged me and she's like, "Hey, me and Roderick, who's does owns meme does the
Meme,
meme for
meme for
time."
time.
Yeah. She's like, "We're doing this reel, and we want you to be a part of it." And she gave me the script and told me what I was gonna do, and I was not in a good mental place. I'm like, "I can't do it. Like, this is not my thing." And she's like, "Well, think about it." And a few days goes by, and I didn't get back to her. And I'm like, "Just do it without me." And then, like, 2 days later, Ben's in the video with her, and she had reached out to Ben, and so he does the video, and then it gets shared by CrossFit.com. And I'm like, "Man," it's like, talk about full circle. It was the best. Like, I love it. And
Yeah,
it
whenever
was some
Allie invites me to a collaboration, I just say any collaboration, I just say yes.
I figured it was just an excuse for you to video yourself with your shirt off. So,
Well,
and you
that
did.
too. Obviously, I volunteered
Yeah,
for that part.
it was great. Well, I loved it. I thought you did a great job. So,
Thank you. I
congratulations.
appreciate
Last thing, we're an hour and 15 minutes in, and you have yet to try to sell a single course. So, before we
Mm.
wrap this thing up,
it.
any courses you want to shout out or anything going on at WODprep you want the listeners
Actually,
to know about?
of course there is. I haven't talked about this one, but we are running our first ever WODprep camp in person here in Colorado in a couple weeks. From depending on when this is released, if it's released soon, it's coming up in a few weeks, January 27th and 28th. It's at the gym that I go to at Coda CrossFit in Louisville, Colorado, which is about 30 minutes from the Denver airport and pretty close to a bunch of ski resorts. So if anyone is interested in getting coached in person by me, and I'm flying my whole team out, the whole WOD Prep gang, all my head coaches will be there. It's gonna be awesome. Right now, I think we have like 8 or 9 spots left, so it sold pretty well, and we just have a few straggler spots left for anyone who's interested. Just yeah, shoot me a DM and I'll give you a discount.
All right. And
So cool.
yeah, you guys should go to that. I imagine it's super fun. Is Joe going to have his mustache still, or has he shaved it yet?
He'll never shave that. He'll never
No.
shave.
Mm.
Well, that's worth the price of admission right there.
CJ's gonna might have CJ do an entire lecture on lawn care and hair care because he has a perfect lawn at his house, and then his hair is also perfect. So we might throw that in as a special bonus.
Mm.
But really, the purpose of the camp is it's like an open tune-up camp because the open will be a month
Yeah.
away, date that we have it, And our goal is to make sure that we basically take all the feedback from all the registrants, and then we're custom tailoring camps so that everyone gets to work on the things that they want to do. So we'll have
Oh,
some
cool.
breakout sessions where like, hey, people who are trying to get their first muscle up, go here. People who are trying to learn how to string muscle ups together, go here. If you're just trying to get your first pull up, go here. So it's cool because it's going to be catered to everyone and any ability level. So it's going to be really good.
How fun. That's
That is
great.
fun. I appreciate the invite. I mean, I could have come, but too late now. Too
You're
late.
invited. You can
Yep.
come, dude. I'll give you a really good discount. Actually,
Ooh.
you know what? I might let you come for free at
Oh,
Mm.
special influencer package.
No,
wow.
no, even free's not worth it now. I'm just gonna pout because I wasn't invited. I'd invite myself. So,
You can stay at my house, man. I think I only have 6 or 7 people staying here, so we got plenty.
Oh, easy.
yeah, I'm sure that's gonna be a hoot.
Oh my god,
I'm sure
fun.
it will. Well, thank you, Ben, for joining. I appreciate it. I know it's kinda last minute notice, but, always fun to get a chance to catch up.
Thanks for
Absolutely.
having me on, and I'm looking forward to doing it. It's turkey season doesn't start until, like, May, so I got a lot of time on my hands between now and then, so I'm ready for podcasts.
Alright, well, we're
Perfect.
gonna do more. We're gonna do some episodes of Scale and Bale for the
Fun.
open, and
Excellent.
we'll do some of that, so Nikki, great to see you as
Likewise.
always. Get that kid
Likewise.
playing guitar for me and make sure you send me videos.
I will. I'm gonna send you that picture of him sleeping with it last week.
Perfect.
It's so cute.
And for everyone listening, we appreciate you guys joining. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as the audio channels. And we appreciate you listening. Take care.
Peace.